Hey everybody. I realized after recording this video that I did not have my mic turned on. LOL. So I am using all metallics today. I'm doing a 20 by 20 canvas for my bathroom. These are all DecoArt paints, and I'm just trying to pick colors that will go in with the decor. I have OGX in some paints that were left over from a paint party the other day, and then I mixed fresh paints. That was a rich espresso. That's Mink Pearl. That one is their silver outdoor living mixed with the pewter, which is absolutely fabulous. It's got a bluish cast compared to the silver, but it's really a fabulous pewter with a lot of sparkle. This is pure pewter here in this cup, which I absolutely adore. This one is sage silver, which has got a light green cast to it. This one is Peacock Pearl. And one that I added a touch of green to, and a little white pearl. This is Copper Extreme Sheen, which I'm going to mix for you. This one is milk paint, which I've never used before, and I didn't look up any recipes on anybody's videos. I just put milk paint in and added my normal recipe, and this was some burnt umber from the party, a chocolate color. My regular white. Everything's mixed 1:1 with Floetrol latex based. That's the gallon. This is the quart, just to show you what the latex based label looks like. 1:1 ratio, and I highly recommend you mix the paint with the Floetrol 1:1. Totally mix it in together so that they bind together. And then if you want to add water, you add water after you've gotten the paint and Floetrol totally mixed up. Typically with craft bottle paints like DecoArt, you do not have to add water, but because it is metallic, they are much heavier and dense, so you have to add water to get it to the right consistency. And that consistency that I'm hoping for is like melted honey, or warm honey or melted ice cream. So this is still way too thick. And my hopes in this pour that I'm getting ready to work on was I wanted it very kind of linear feeling and organic. I really didn't want cells, but because a few of my paints have the OGX in them from the paint party, the brown and the rich espresso and the Mink Pearl, I'm going to have cells. And then I know because I'm using the milk paint that there's going to be some things going on with cells and shapes, cloudy shapes and things like that. So I'm quite curious to see how this kind of pans out. But you do have to add water with metallics when it comes to the bottled craft paints. If you're using two paints, you're always going to have to add water to the 1:1 ratio of paint to Floetrol because it's extremely thick. Two paints are more dense and they're more pigmented, they're more artist grade, and so you're always going to have to add water to that mixture. So just keep that in mind when you're mixing your paints. You can use any brand you want to. It's just a matter of choosing how much water to add, or if you need any water at all. So these are the colors I've decided to go with. I'm not sure if they're going to be exactly what I need for my bathroom color scheme, but I'm going to go with it, and it's going to be a total surprise. I'm going to need, for a 20 by 20 canvas, I'm going to need 14 ounces of paint to cover the top, plus a few extra ounces for the sides. So I've got 3 5-ounce cups of paint, 3 5-ounce cups. And I'm just going to go ahead and pretty much pour everything about the same way. I want to fill these cups up to the brim. I've decided to layer them because I wasn't sure exactly how I wanted to lay them down on the canvas, but I'm thinking that I want to do the tree ring style. And with the tree ring, you like to kind of layer your colors on top. That's why you tilt the cup just slightly so that you can pour down the side of the cup and the paint colors will lay on top of each other instead of sinking in to each other. That's that silver sage. That's so pretty. It's a very, very, very pale sage green with a pearlescent effect. There's not many of the DecoArt metallics that I don't like, and I absolutely love that rich espresso I just used. I love the 24 karat gold. I absolutely love the pewter. This copper, Extreme Sheen Copper, their copper is very, very red, and so I'm kind of second guessing myself on this copper choice, but I'm going to go ahead and go with it, and I decided to let it even go down into the cup and sink a little bit. So I've got 3 full cups. They're 5 ounces each. Again, I'm going to pour on a 20 by 20 canvas. I'm going to adjust the camera a little bit because it is quite large, so we're going to zoom out a bit. And there I've just taken the white, and this is a Wilton icing fondant spreader that is in my Amazon link below the video. I have an Amazon recommendations link, and I always put most of the things that I use. There's a ton of different suggestions in that link. The OGX, the Floetrol, Spot On treadmill lubricant, all the different supplies that I typically use or have used are in that link. So I'm thinking I'll do 3 tree ring pours. And I'm not going to do it slowly. I'm just going to kind of lay it out there because this is going to be, I want it very organic. I'm not trying to go for actual tree ring shapes. I am going to be tilting, and hopefully we'll just get some interesting shapes as I tilt the canvas. I'm loving the Peacock Pearl color. It's, you know, quite lovely. And you can see that pewter is pretty strong. After I tilt it and all, I kind of lose a little bit of that. I kind of hated that I lost as much of the silver and pewter colors. I got a little gnat flying around. I'm trying to grab him so he doesn't land on my paint there. So I've got there my 3 puddles of paint. And I typically don't use heat, like a heat gun or heat torch, for the paintings that I do with the OGX. It's really not necessary to heat it because the cells will automatically grow. If you're just patient and let it sit for a while, they will grow. But I do have some air bubbles, so I'm going to pop those really quickly. I'm not trying to get more cells, I'm just trying to release the air bubbles that are on the surface. So here we go. lump in my paint. I'm just removing it there. You don't want a lump to kind of stand up like a little tree in a forest and stop your paint from moving around, so always remove any lumps that you might see. That peacock teal and the greenish peacock color are so beautiful and stunning in this color combination. My only regret is I wish I had used maybe a little bit of gold. I don't really have gold in my bathroom, but when I came home after I did this pour, I noticed that in my tiles on the floor there's a lot of grays and the rust colors. It's very earthy, but it has a warm feel to it. So I wish I kind of had put some metallic gold in. And I'm short a little bit on one corner there, so I'm just going to take some leftovers that are from the little 5-ounce cups that I have and just pouring some leftovers to cover that white space. Just decided to drag my finger through it and try to make it feel a little bit linear, but you don't want any hard edges where you've added paint. So typically I'm going to, you know me, I'm going to manipulate my paint anyway. What happens when you blow like that is it just breaks up those hard lines and it creates more random and organic shapes, which makes sense with the rest of the feel of the painting. And I've got a little corner on this end. It's actually pretty heavy with paint. I'm turning it just to get it at it from a different angle, make sure all my sides are covered. But I'm going to start seeing there's going to be little spots that will kind of where the paint will separate a bit from the canvas where your OGX or silicone or whatever you've added. In my case, the OGX that was in a few of the paints, it will, kind of pull apart in a cell formation, and you'll see bits and pieces of the canvas. So the only thing you need to do is just keep touching your finger into the puddles of paint and adding paint back to those areas to make sure you don't see that canvas popping through. And right there, it's kind of bothering me where it's like a hard pointed edge. So I'm going to start manipulating the painting here. You're going to see me manipulate it a little bit here and there, just to break up some edges. With it being thicker too, if you run your finger through or a craft stick or something, the paint will eventually come back in where you've lifted that paint out. The paint will spread back in and cover that area. And I decided I would try a few balloon rolls. If I needed it. And I pushed a little hard and it took it down to the canvas, so I just need to wait for the paint to settle back over the canvas again, or you can blow or help it move it along. Love the cloudy shapes that are coming up. Here I'm just basically sticking my finger into the milk paint and adding a few little shapes in with the fingertip. I decided to get some of that pewter. I just like to go into areas where I feel like there's a blank space or too much of one color or too much of a shape happening with this, like there was a whole row of those circular, cloudy, cellular pearl patterns. So just breaking it up a bit here and there. The key when you're adding color on top of your pour is just to do it very gently. You don't want to push down, you want to just kind of, with a feather touch, add your color on top of the other colors that are there. Otherwise, you're going to scrape down to that canvas surface and show the canvas underneath. And like that band of colors there, I wanted to break it up with some organic movement so it didn't look like a stripe per se. So put a little milk paint with the pewterish color on top just to stick a little bit there that wasn't in that area as well. And this is one area too where it's just a lot of copper and the beautiful greenish peacock pearl color. I wanted to add just a bit of the pewter silver color, and I think well, I'm going to add a little bit more of the peacock pearl color and some milk paint. So there again, I just use the balloon to kind of randomly put in a shape without me dragging a stick through it or trying to swipe it or anything like that. And then you can just blow to make it more random and not so contrived. So that milk paint kind of does the job of the DecoArt satin enamel that everybody loves to use and do the cloudy effect. You're kind of getting that kind of same effect with the milk paint because it kind of breaks up into these little cloud-like cell formations, which are really pretty. So that's why you see me adding the bits of milk paint here and there to just, you know, break up certain areas that look too kind of monotone or striped or whatever. Because I didn't get the linear look that I was kind of hoping for at the very beginning, I just decided to embrace this cellular pattern shape that these milk paint areas were making, and just kind of embrace that and go with it and see what happens. Adding a little bit of that rich espresso there. I'm really quite pleased at how lovely this is. So I had a few little areas that had separated and gone down to the canvas there, so I was trying to add a little paint in to just where the canvas didn't show through again. So I think I'm about finished with this. Bring it up for you to see up close. It's really very lovely. That one area that I had just worked on at the very bottom right, after laying for a few minutes, I had to manipulate it a little bit more, but I thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you really enjoyed it. I hope you would subscribe, check on the links below the video, like Amazon, my Facebook group, my PayPal account, if you'd like to contribute anything, Patreon, and I also have Thinkific, which is a online tutorial platform where I teach classes traditionally to learn how to paint with acrylics. For those that would love to learn how to paint traditionally, it's for the beginners, and it's $35, and I think well worth the cost. So thank you so much. And I just want to say I really appreciate everybody's encouragement, encouraging words, your continued subscriptions, following me and watching my journey. It's never taken for granted, and I just want to say I love you all. I've become friends with so many people through YouTube, and that's been really wonderful and enriching in my life. And I just want to say to those who have families that struggle with addiction and all, like I do with my son, just keep hanging in there and continue to paint, because art is very healing, it's very therapeutic, and it is what enriches my life and kind of keeps me grounded. And I hope you will continue to create beautiful things and bring beauty into your life. I love sharing with you, and y'all take care. Bye-bye.